What would you do if someone disrespected you? Hey there, friend, imagine this. You were going about your day minding your own business, maybe grabbing a coffee or working on a project when out of nowhere, someone, a coworker, a stranger, or even someone you thought was a friend, says or does something that hits you like a slap in the face. Disrespect. It's like a punch to the gut, isn't it? Your heart starts pounding, your face flushes, and in that split second you were caught in a tug of war between firing back with something sharp or just swallowing the hurt and pretending it didn't happen. It's a moment we've all faced, and it never feels good. But what if there was a better way to handle it? A way to stay calm, strong, and even wise in the face of that sting? That's exactly what we're diving into today. I am going to walk you through 10 powerful ideas rooted in an ancient philosophy called Stoicism, a way of thinking that has been helping people navigate life's toughest moments for centuries. These aren't just old dusty theories gathering cobwebs in a history book. They're practical, real-world tools you can use right now to deal with disrespect without losing your cool or your sense of self. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll have a solid game plan to face those rough moments like a pro. Ready? Let's jump in. Now, let's set the scene a bit more. Picture yourself at work, pouring your heart into a presentation, only for a colleague to roll their eyes and mutter something dismissive. Or maybe you're at a family gathering, and an aunt makes a snide comment about your life choices. These moments of disrespect, big or small, can feel like they're chipping away at you. They test your patience, your confidence, and sometimes even your sense of worth. It is tempting to react in the heat of the moment, to snap back with a clever comeback or retreat into silence, nursing the wound. But Stoicism offers a different path, one that's less about reacting and more about responding with intention. It's like having a mental toolbox filled with strategies to keep you grounded when the world tries to knock you off balance. These ideas come from thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who faced betrayal and criticism daily, yet managed to stay steady, and Epictetus, a former slave who turned his hardships into lessons for a meaningful life. Their wisdom isn't just for ancient times, it's for you, right here, right now. So, why Stoicism? Because it's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending you're above it all. It's about taking control of your mind and choosing how you let the world affect you. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to feel like they've taken something from you. Your peace, your pride, maybe even your power. But the Stoics teach us that no one can take those things unless you hand them over. Their philosophy is like a shield, helping you protect your inner calm while still standing tall. The 10 ideas we're about to explore will show you how to do that. We'll talk about staying calm when your blood's boiling, reflecting on your own role in the situation, and even finding a bit of humor to lighten the load. We'll cover how to set boundaries without losing your cool, forgive without feeling weak, and see the bigger picture so those moments of disrespect don't define you. Each step is a tool, a way to turn a painful moment into a chance to grow stronger and wiser. I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great, but can it really work in the real world? Trust me, I get it. Life is messy, and disrespect can hit you when you least expect it. But that's exactly why these Stoic principles are so powerful. They rebuilt for the chaos of everyday life. Whether it's a rude comment from a stranger, a jab from a friend, or a dismissive attitude at work, these tools give you a way to respond that feels authentic and empowering. So, stick with me on this journey. By the end, you'll have a roadmap to handle disrespect with grace and strength, and maybe even inspire others to do the same. Ready to take the first step? Let's dive into the first idea and start building that mental toolbox together. Stay cool. When the heat is on. First up, let's talk about keeping your calm. Picture this. You're driving along, maybe humming to your favorite song, when someone cuts you off in traffic, nearly clipping your bumper, and throws in a rude gesture for good measure. Your heart jumps, your hands grip the wheel, and that familiar anger starts bubbling up. Your first instinct might be to honk, yell out the window, or let that frustration take over. But here's where an ancient Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, drops some wisdom that completely flips the script. It is not what happens to you that messes with your head. It is how you think about it. That rude gesture? It's just a hand waving in the air. The disrespect only becomes a big deal if you let it crawl under your skin and take root. Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to decide what gets to us, and that's where the real strength lies. Think of it like this. When someone disrespects you, they're not defining you. They're showing you their own baggage. Maybe they're having a terrible day, wrestling with their own insecurities or just letting their unchecked emotions run wild. Their actions are a reflection of what's going on inside them, not a measure of your worth. Imagine that same driver who cut you off. They might be late for a meeting, stressed about a sick kid, or just caught in a spiral of their own bad mood. It's not about you. Your value, your dignity, your sense of self, those aren't tied to their words or actions. So the next time you feel that sting of disrespect, whether it as a snarky comment from a coworker or a dismissive eye roll from a friend, take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is their issue, not mine. That simple shift in perspective is like putting up a mental shield, keeping their negativity from sinking in. Staying calm in these moments doesn't mean you weak or letting someone walk all over you. Far from it. It means you're in control, choosing not to let someone else's drama hijack your peace. Picture yourself as a calm lake. A stone might splash into the water, causing ripples, but the lake itself stays steady, unshaken. That's what Epictetus is getting at. You can't control the stone, but you can control how much you let those ripples spread. When you choose calm over chaos, you're not just avoiding a pointless argument, you're protecting your inner peace. And trust me, that's a superpower in a world where people are quick to react and slow to think. Let's make it real for a second. Say you're at a family gathering, and your cousin makes a jab about your career. Something like, still chasing that dream job, huh? It stings, and you might feel the urge to fire back or shrink into yourself. But instead, try this. Pause, breathe, and think. This says more about their perspective than it does about me. Maybe they're feeling stuck in their own life, and that comment is their way of coping. By not taking it personally, you're freeing yourself from their judgment. You're saying, my worth isn't up for debate. That kind of mental clarity lets you stay grounded, maybe even smile and change the subject, without letting their words derail your day. This approach isn't about ignoring your feelings. Stoicism isn't about turning into a robot. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in how you respond. You can let that disrespectful moment define you, or you can see it for what it is, a fleeting action that doesn't get to dictate your peace. Practicing this takes time, sure, but every time you choose calm over reaction, you're building a habit, a muscle that gets stronger with use. And that strength sets you up perfectly for the next Stoic idea, because keeping your cool is just the first step. It's about turning the focus inward, looking at your own thoughts and actions and making sure you're staying true to who you want to be. So, let's keep that in mind as we move forward, ready to dig a little deeper.
Look in the mirror. Okay, so someone's been disrespectful, and you've managed to keep your cool, nice work staying steady in the heat of the moment. But now what? It's time to do a little soul searching, to turn the spotlight inward and dig a bit deeper. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who had to deal with his fair share of critics, betrayers, and outright haters, had a powerful idea about this. They believed that the quality of your life hinges on the quality of your thoughts. In other words, your mind is the lens through which you see the world, and when disrespect comes your way, it's not just a challenge, it's an opportunity. It's a chance to pause, take a hard look at yourself, and ask some real, honest questions. Did I do anything to spark this situation? Is there any sliver of truth in what they said? How can I handle this in a way that feels true to who I am and who I want to be? Let's paint a picture to make this real. Imagine you're in a team meeting at work, pouring your heart into pitching an idea you've been working on for weeks. You're excited, you're prepared, but then a coworker cuts you off with a sharp, "That's useless, ouch." That one word lands like a dagger, and you can feel the room shift. Your first instinct might be to snap back with something equally cutting or to shrink into your chair, silently fuming. But here's where Stoicism steps in like a wise friend. Instead of firing back or stewing in that hurt, take a mental step back. Picture yourself hitting pause on the moment, giving yourself space to breathe and think. Could your idea have been presented more clearly? Maybe you rushed through the details? Did you unintentionally come across in a way that rubbed them the wrong way, like sounding overconfident or unclear? Or is this coworker just projecting their own stress, maybe from a looming deadline or a bad day? The point isn't to beat yourself up or take the blame. It's about getting curious, peeling back the layers of the situation to understand it better. This kind of self-reflection isn't always easy. It's tempting to point the finger outward, to say they're just rude, and leave it at that. But the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, knew that looking inward is where the real growth happens. It's like holding up a mirror to your own actions, thoughts, and intentions. Ask yourself, what's driving my reaction right now? Am I hurt because there's a grain of truth in their words, or am I just reacting to the sting of their tone? And most importantly, how can I respond in a way that aligns with my core values, maybe honesty, kindness, or integrity? Let's say you realize your coworker's snap came from their own pressure to perform. Instead of clapping back, you might choose to respond with, "I hear you, maybe I can clarify the idea. What do you think could make it stronger?" That's you staying true to who you are, choosing growth over ego, and keeping the conversation constructive. By reflecting like this, you're not just reacting on autopilot, letting your emotions drive the bus. You're taking the wheel, choosing to learn from the moment and grow stronger because of it. It's like turning a painful jab into a chance to sharpen your own character. You not letting their disrespect define you, you using it as a tool to better understand yourself and the situation. And that's powerful. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, about making sure your actions reflect the person you're striving to be. This kind of soul searching sets you up perfectly for what's next, because once you've looked inward, you're ready to think about timing. Responding thoughtfully takes practice, and the Stoics have a trick for that, to a way to slow things down and make sure your next move is a wise one. So let's keep that mirror in hand as we move forward, ready to explore the next step in handling disrespect with grace. Hit the pause button. Okay, so someone's been disrespectful, and you've managed to keep your cool, nice work staying steady in the heat of the moment. But now what? It's time to do a little soul searching, to turn the spotlight inward and dig a bit deeper. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who had to deal with his fair share of critics, betrayers, and outright haters, had a powerful idea about this. They believed that the quality of your life hinges on the quality of your thoughts. In other words, your mind is the lens through which you see the world, and when disrespect comes your way, it's not just a challenge, it's an opportunity. It's a chance to pause, take a hard look at yourself, and ask some real, honest questions. Did I do anything to spark this situation? Is there any sliver of truth in what they said? How can I handle this in a way that feels true to who I am and who I want to be? Let's paint a picture to make this real. Imagine you're in a team meeting at work, pouring your heart into pitching an idea you've been working on for weeks. You're excited, you're prepared, but then a coworker cuts you off with a sharp, "That's useless, ouch." That one word lands like a dagger, and you can feel the room shift. Your first instinct might be to snap back with something equally cutting or to shrink into your chair, silently fuming. But here's where Stoicism steps in like a wise friend. Instead of firing back or stewing in that hurt, take a mental step back. Picture yourself hitting pause on the moment, giving yourself space to breathe and think. Could your idea have been presented more clearly? Maybe you rushed through the details? Did you unintentionally come across in a way that rubbed them the wrong way, like sounding overconfident or unclear? Or is this coworker just projecting their own stress, maybe from a looming deadline or a bad day? The point isn't to beat yourself up or take the blame. It's about getting curious, peeling back the layers of the situation to understand it better. This kind of self-reflection isn't always easy. It's tempting to point the finger outward, to say they're just rude, and leave it at that. But the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, knew that looking inward is where the real growth happens. It's like holding up a mirror to your own actions, thoughts, and intentions. Ask yourself, what's driving my reaction right now? Am I hurt because there's a grain of truth in their words, or am I just reacting to the sting of their tone? And most importantly, how can I respond in a way that aligns with my core values, maybe honesty, kindness, or integrity? Let's say you realize your coworker's snap came from their own pressure to perform. Instead of clapping back, you might choose to respond with, I hear you, maybe I can clarify the idea. What do you think could make it stronger? That's you staying true to who you are, choosing growth over ego, and keeping the conversation constructive. By reflecting like this, you're not just reacting on autopilot, letting your emotions drive the bus. You're taking the wheel, choosing to learn from the moment and grow stronger because of it. It's like turning a painful jab into a chance to sharpen your own character. You re not letting their disrespect define you, you re using it as a tool to better understand yourself and the situation. And that's powerful. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, about making sure your actions reflect the person you're striving to be. This kind of soul searching sets you up perfectly for what's next, because once you've looked inward, you're ready to think about timing. Responding thoughtfully takes practice, and the Stoics have a trick for that, to a way to slow things down and make sure your next move is a wise one. So let's keep that mirror in hand as we move forward, ready to explore the next step in handling disrespect with grace.
Walk in their shoes. All right, let us talk about something we've all been guilty of at one point or another. Reacting too fast. You know how it goes. Someone disrespects you, maybe with a cutting remark or a dismissive gesture, and before you can even process it, you've fired back with a snarky comment or a glare that could melt steel. It feels good for a split second, like you've reclaimed some power, but then you're left with that sinking feeling, wondering if you just made things worse. The Stoic philosopher Seneca had a sharp warning about this. When you react in anger, you're not just dealing with that one moment. You're building a habit. And that habit? It's like a trap, slowly making you a slave to your emotions, where every jab or slight pulls you into a cycle of impulsive responses that leave you drained and regretful. Here's the Stoic trick that can change the game. Pause. Just pause. When disrespect hits, whether it's a coworker's snide comment or a stranger's rude attitude, give yourself a moment to breathe, to think, to let the storm in your head settle. It is like hitting the brakes on a runaway car. It stops the chaos and gives you back control. Imagine you're at a family dinner, surrounded by the clink of glasses and the hum of conversation, when your uncle leans over and makes a snide remark about your career choice, something like, "So still wasting time on that hobby job?" Oof, that stings. Your first instinct might be to clap back with something sharp like, "At least I'm not stuck in a dead-end job like you." But instead, try this. Take a sip of water, count to 5 in your head, and let your thoughts catch up. That pause is your secret weapon. It is not about suppressing your feelings, it is about giving yourself the space to choose a response that is thoughtful, not just a knee-jerk reaction born out of hurt or anger. This pause isn't just a delay, it's a moment of power. It's you saying, "I'm not letting this moment control me." Think about it. When you react instantly, you're letting someone else's words or actions pull your strings like a puppet on a stage. But when you pause, you're cutting those strings. You're giving yourself the chance to ask, what's really going on here? Is this worth my energy? How do I want to show up in this moment? Let's say that Uncle's comment is still ringing in your ears. In that pause, you might realize he's just grumpy because he's stressed about his own life. Or maybe he's always been critical, and this is just his pattern. Either way, by taking that moment, you can choose to respond with something like, "I'm actually pretty happy with where I am at. Let us talk about something else." That's you staying in control, keeping the conversation from spiraling into a fight, and walking away with your dignity intact. And honestly, it feels good to know you're not just reacting on autopilot. That pause is like a mental reset button, helping you break the habit of emotional outbursts that Seneca warned about. It's not about being perfect. Nobody is. We all slip up sometimes. But every time you choose to pause, you're training yourself to respond with intention, not impulse. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. Over time, you'll find that those moments of disrespect don't hit as hard because you've got this tool to keep you grounded. And that sense of control? It's liberating. It's you deciding that no one else gets to dictate your peace. This idea of pausing sets you up perfectly for what's next, because once you've given yourself that space to think, You're ready to see things from a different angle. Disrespect can feel personal, but the Stoics have a way of flipping the perspective to help you stay calm and wise. So let's keep that pause in our back pocket as we move forward, ready to explore how looking at things differently can change the way we handle those tough moments. Stick to your values. Here's where Stoicism really lights the way, showing us how to rise above the noise and stay true to ourselves. The Stoics, like the philosopher Seneca, believe that the best way to live, a life that feels grounded and meaningful, is to focus on being virtuous. We're talking about qualities like wisdom, courage, integrity, and kindness, the kind of traits that define who you are at your core. When someone disrespects you, whether it's a cutting remark or a dismissive attitude, it's so tempting to stoop to their level, to fire back with something just as petty or sharp. Your emotions are screaming. Give them a taste of their own medicine. But Stoicism steps in with a firm but gentle nudge. Don't. Instead, let your response reflect the person you want to be, the values you hold dear. That's where the real power lies, not in winning a shouting match, but in staying steady and true to your principles. Let's make this vivid with a scenario. Picture yourself outside your home, maybe pulling a few weeds when your neighbor leans over the fence and makes a snarky comment about your messy yard. Wow, your place is starting to look like a jungle. It's the kind of jab that can spark instant irritation, especially if you've been meaning to tidy up but life's been hectic. Your first impulse might be to snap back, maybe something like, "At least I don't keep the whole street up with my loud parties." It's a quick burn, sure, but it drags you into a pointless back and forth that leaves everyone feeling worse. Now, imagine taking the Stoic approach instead. You take a deep breath, let the sting of their words pass, and respond with calm clarity. "Hey, I appreciate the heads up. I've been swamped, but I'll work on tidying it up soon." That's you choosing kindness and responsibility over pettiness. You're not ignoring the disrespect or pretending it didn't happen. You're handling it in a way that keeps your dignity intact and reflects the values you care about. This focus on virtue isn't just about getting through that one moment. It is about building a life that feels solid and meaningful. Seneca and the Stoics saw virtues like wisdom, courage, and integrity as the foundation of a good life. The things that matter no matter what chaos the world throws at you. When you respond to disrespect with virtue, you're not just diffusing a tense situation, you're reinforcing who you are. It's like laying bricks for a sturdy house, one thoughtful response at a time. Let us say that neighbor's comment wasn't a one-off. They've got a habit of tossing out little jabs. Each time you choose to respond with patience or honesty instead of sarcasm, you're strengthening your character. You're saying, "This is who I am, and no one's snide remarks can pull me away from that." It's not about being perfect. It's about aiming to be the person you respect even when it's hard. And here's the beautiful thing. Focusing on virtue doesn't mean you were letting people walk all over you. It's not about being a doormat or swallowing your pride. It's about choosing strength over weakness, clarity over chaos. That neighbor might keep being snarky, but by responding with calm and principle, you're showing them, and yourself, that their words don't get to define you. You're building a life where your actions align with your values. And that alignment brings a kind of peace that no petty comeback ever could. It's like choosing to climb a mountain instead of tripping over every rock in your path. This focus on virtue is a game changer, and it sets you up perfectly for the next piece of Stoic wisdom, accepting what you can change. Because once you've grounded yourself in who you are ready to let go of the things you can control and focus on what truly matters. Let go of what you can't control. One of the biggest lessons from Stoicism, the kind that hits you right in the core, is this. There are things in life you can control, and there are things you just can't. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it in a way that's both simple and profound. A wise person doesn't waste energy grieving over what they don't or to have. Instead, they're grateful for what they do. When it comes to dealing with disrespect, this idea is like a lifeline. You can't control what someone says or does to you. You can't force them to like you, respect you, or treat you fairly. That's their choice, their baggage, their path. But here's the game changer. You can control how you respond, how you think, and how you carry yourself through the sting of their words or actions. That's where your power lies. and Stoicism shows you how to use it to keep your peace intact. Picture this scenario to bring it home. You've been pouring your heart into a project at work, burning the midnight oil to get it just right. You present it to your team, feeling proud, only for your boss to dismiss it in front of everyone with a curt, "This isn't what we need." Ouch. That kind of public disrespect can feel like a punch to the stomach, leaving you frustrated, maybe even humiliated. Your first instinct might be to get mad, to stew in bitterness, or to spend hours replaying the moment thinking of all the things you wish you'd said. But here's the truth. Getting angry or holding on to that resentment won't change your boss's behavior. It won't rewind the meeting or make them see your work differently. All it does is eat you up inside, stealing your energy and your peace. Stoicism steps in with a different approach. Accept that their disrespect is out of your hands. It's not about giving up or admitting defeat. It is about recognizing what is beyond your control and choosing not to let it weigh you down. Instead of focusing on what you can't change, like your boss's attitude or words, shift your energy to what you can control. You can keep doing great work, refining your skills, and bringing your best to the table. You can stay professional, keeping your tone steady and your attitude positive, even when it's tough. You can hold your head high, knowing your effort and worth aren't defined by someone else's opinion. This kind of acceptance is like letting go of a heavy backpack you have been carrying up a steep hill. Suddenly you can walk a little lighter, breathe a little easier. It is not about ignoring the sting of disrespect or pretending it doesn't hurt. It is about refusing to let it control your inner world. By accepting what you can't change, you free yourself to focus on what you can, your actions, your mindset, your growth. This Stoic principle, often called the dichotomy of control, is like a mental filter for navigating life's challenges. It's a reminder that so much of what stresses us out, other people's opinions, their rudeness, their unfairness, is outside our grasp. But your response, that's all you. Let's say your boss keeps dismissing your ideas. You can't make them value your work, but you can choose to keep showing up with integrity, maybe even seeking constructive feedback to improve. Or maybe you decide to have a calm, professional conversation with them later, focusing on solutions rather than emotions. That's you taking control, not of them, but of yourself. And that feels empowering. It's like choosing to steer your own ship no matter how stormy the seas get. This acceptance isn't just about surviving tough moments. It's about thriving through them. It's about building a life where your peace doesn't depend on others playing nice. By letting go of what you can't control, you make room for gratitude, for focusing on what you do have, your skills, your values, your ability to grow. And speaking of lightening things up, this mindset sets you up perfectly for a surprising Stoic tool that's coming next, one that can shift the mood and keep you grounded in even the trickiest situations. Find the humor. Now this one might catch you off guard because when you think of Stoicism, you might picture a bunch of stern philosophers stroking their beards and preaching about self-control. But here's the thing. The Stoics weren't all serious all the time. Seneca, one of their heavy hitters, dropped a gem that's surprisingly lighthearted. Mastering yourself means knowing what to take lightly. In other words, sometimes a little humor can go a long way when life throws you a curveball like disrespect. Instead of letting someone's rude comment or snarky attitude ruin your day, what if you found a way to laugh it off? Not in a fake, forced way, but with a genuine, clever quip that keeps you grounded and shifts the energy. Humor, when used right, isn't just a deflection. It is a way to take back control and show that you were not letting their negativity call the shots. Let's set the scene to make this real. Imagine you're in line at a coffee shop, juggling a million thoughts, work, errands, that email you forgot to send. You are taking a moment to decide between a latte or a cappuccino when the person behind you mutters, loud enough for you to hear, "Can you hurry up already?" Some of us have places to be. It's rude, it's unnecessary, and it's tempting to spin around and snap. Relax, it's just coffee. But here's where the Stoic approach with a dash of Seneca's wisdom comes in. Instead of getting mad or letting that comment fester, you turn with a grin and say, "Yeah, choosing between a latte and a cappuccino is basically a life crisis." That light-hearted response does a few things. It diffuses the tension, keeps you from spiraling into anger, and might even get a chuckle or a sheepish smile from the grump behind you. Suddenly, the vibe shifts, and you're the one steering the moment, not their impatience. This use of humor isn't about brushing off disrespect or pretending it doesn't sting. It's about choosing not to let it control your mood or your day. The Stoics knew that emotions like anger or frustration can hijack your peace if you let them. But a well-placed joke or playful remark can act like a pressure valve, releasing the tension without escalating the situation. Think of it like dodging a punch in a boxing match. You're not running away, but you're moving smartly, staying in control. Let's say you're at a family gathering, and your cousin makes a snide remark about your new hobby like, "What, you're still painting those weird little pictures?" Instead of taking the bait, you could laugh and say, "Yeah, my masterpieces might not be museum-worthy yet, but they keep me out of trouble." It's kind, it's clever, and it shows you're not rattled. That's you staying true to your piece while keeping the interaction light. Of course, you've got to read the room. Humor works best when it's thoughtful and not mean-spirited. If your response comes off as sarcastic or cutting, you're just trading one form of negativity for another, and that's not the Stoic way. The goal is to use humor to lift the moment, not to start a new fight. For example, if that coffee shop grumbler doubles down, you might just smile, place your order, and let it go, knowing you've already taken the high road. This approach takes practice, because it is not about being a comedian. It is about finding that sweet spot where you acknowledge the disrespect without letting it pull you into its orbit. Seneca's point is that mastering yourself includes knowing when to take things lightly, and humor is a tool to do just that. By leaning into humor, you are not only protecting your own peace, you are also showing strength in a way that is approachable and human. It's like adding a little sunshine to a cloudy moment, and it feels good. This sets you up perfectly for the next Stoic idea, which is all about standing your ground without losing that calm, centered vibe you've worked so hard to maintain. Set boundaries like a rock. Stoicism isn't about being a pushover or letting people walk all over you. It is about being a rock, solid and unshaken no matter what comes your way. When someone disrespects you, it is easy to feel like you're stuck between two bad choices. Either take it lying down and feel like you've lost a piece of yourself, or lash out and risk escalating the situation into something uglier. But the Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, offer a better path. Stay calm and assertive, setting clear boundaries that protect your dignity while keeping your cool. It is not about winning a fight or proving a point. It is about standing firm in who you are and what you value, showing the world that disrespect doesn't get to shake you. This approach is like planting your feet on solid ground, refusing to be swept away by someone else's negativity. Let's bring this to life with a scenario. Imagine you've got a friend who has got a habit of making snide comments about your hobbies. Maybe you love knitting, photography, or collecting rare coins, and they keep tossing out little jabs like, "Wow, still wasting time on that stuff?" It stings, especially because it's coming from someone you care about. Your first instinct might be to ignore it, hoping they'll stop, or to snap back with something like, "At least I've got a passion unlike you." But both of those choices can leave you feeling hollow. Ignoring it might feel like betraying yourself, and snapping back just fuels the fire. Here's where the Stoic way shines. Instead of choosing silence or anger, you take a deep breath and say, "Hey, I love that we can joke around, but those comments about my hobbies hit a little hard. Let's keep things positive, okay?" You're not attacking them or escalating into a fight. You're being clear about what you're okay with and what crosses the line. That's you standing tall, protecting your dignity while still respecting the relationship. This approach is all about clarity, not control. You're not trying to force your friend to think or act a certain way. That is outside your power, as the Stoics would remind us. Instead, you're setting a boundary that says, "This is how I expect to be treated." It's like drawing a line in the sand, not with aggression, but with calm confidence. You're showing them that you value yourself enough to speak up, and you're giving them a chance to adjust their behavior without turning it into a showdown. Maybe they didn't even realize their comments were hurtful, or maybe they'll respect you more for calling it out. Either way, you're staying true to yourself, and that's what Stoicism is all about. Being a rock, steady and strong no matter what's thrown at you. Setting boundaries like this isn't just about handling one moment. It's about building a life where you consistently show up as the person you want to be. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from living in alignment with your values like courage, respect, and integrity. When you respond to disrespect with calm assertiveness, you're not just protecting your peace in that moment, you're reinforcing a habit of self-respect. Let's say your friend keeps making those comments even after you've spoken up. You might need to set a firmer boundary like, "I've mentioned those comments bother me. If they continue, I'll need some space." That's not you being harsh. It is you valuing your own well-being and making it clear that disrespect isn't something you all tolerate. It's a quiet kind of power, one that lets you walk away from interactions feeling grounded rather than rattled. This Stoic principle of standing firm sets you up beautifully for the next idea. Because once you've established your boundaries, you're ready to tackle the art of letting go of grudges. Holding on to resentment can weigh you down, but the Stoics have a way to help you release that burden and keep moving forward with clarity and peace.